Out of all the games to be released anytime soon, I am easily the most excited for GTA 6. We've seen lots of interesting leaks and have heard tons of rumors about the game's setting, characters, gameplay elements, and everything in between. This has been extensively covered on YouTube for the last year or two, but I'm also somewhat concerned for the game's development. There's a few reasons for this, but basically the central, most talked about reason is that Rockstar might make the game woke. If you don't know what being woke is, it's basically a term for people who are overly politically correct. This in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but the term is being used by some fans online in what they say will result in a game that is completely devoid of any crude humor in favor of a more politically correct or liberal agenda. That being said, there is some reason to be concerned, however valid or invalid it may seem. There have been reports of Rockstar trying to clean up its image. BNN Bloomberg reported last year that Rockstar Games has cleaned up its frat boy culture. The article goes on to talk about changes in the company. One such was the shelving of a mode for GTA Online called Cops and Crooks. The mode was supposed to be a twist on the kids' game Cops and Robbers, where players are organized into a team of good and bad guys. The mode was deemed tone-deaf, especially as it was during the time of the killing of George Floyd. The company has also taken steps to address its gender pay gap, and has removed transphobic jokes from its most recent console re-release of GTA 5. The developers have also stated that they are being cautious not to punch down by making jokes about marginalized groups unlike in previous games. All of this, of course, comes after the controversy Rockstar faced in 2018, which caused a large number of employees to speak out about the poor work environment. The article states that an employee described it as a boys' club transformed into a real company. To me, it seems that Rockstar is trying to take control of the narrative surrounding the company's image and perception. They're trying to make their studio a desirable destination for programmers and investors by going with the flow of society, which isn't a bad thing either. However, this could for sure hurt the humor of the next game. Rockstar is pigeonholing themselves into a corner that will be hard to get out of, especially if the game does poorly after release. The mastermind behind the previous GTA games, Dan Houser, had left the company in 2019, and since then, things haven't been going great for Rockstar. Company morale seems to be at its highest according to many employees, but that hasn't translated into GTA 6 being released anytime soon. This is due to Rockstar Games changing its philosophy surrounding developing their games. You see, from the inception of the company to just a couple of years ago, developers at Rockstar often worked brutally long hours near a game's release. Staff had reportedly worked 7 days a week at 14 hours a day for often months at a time. This took a toll on the employees' personal lives, mental health, and relationships. Dan Houser stated that his team had been working 100-hour weeks leading up to the release of Red Dead Redemption 2. This, of course, is entirely unsustainable, regardless of how easy or comfortable a job may be, and is why we've seen massive shifts at Rockstar Games. Another reason that I'm concerned about GTA 6's development is Rockstar, but more so Take-Two's increasingly greedy monetization strategy. Just look at GTA Definitive Edition, easily one of the lowest points of the franchise and one that left a big stain on the company's record. On paper, GTA Definitive Edition actually looked amazing. It promised improved graphics, bug fixes, and more for 3 games that are probably older than half the GTA Online fan base. This came at a time when players were begging for new GTA content, and while this wasn't technically new, it was enough for fans to get excited. As we all know, when the game was released, it was in an awful state. The game had several visual bugs and strange design choices. Sometimes it resulted in the player being able to walk on water, and the collision between objects not working, and the removal of fog. The last one was purely a design choice, but it was a bad one. Let me explain. In the original versions of these games, fog was used to hide the low render distance. Essentially, the hardware of the time was unable to render objects from really far away while maintaining stable performance. This was especially the case in San Andreas, which has the second largest map in the series, and it was released on consoles from 2 decades ago. The fog was used to hide the fact that you couldn't actually see very far, but it also made the game feel more realistic and grand. If you got in a plane and got really high, you could barely see the other side of the map, since the world was covered in a dense fog. This wasn't the case in the Definitive Edition, where you could see the other side of the map clear as day. This made the game feel much smaller in a strange way. But the cherry on top was Rockstar removing the original versions of these games from all platforms. This meant that if you didn't already own the games on Steam or your console, you could no longer buy it. This was a really strange move from Rockstar, and it made gamers question the company's motives. Did they know the definitive edition would flop? Was this a move to try and direct attention to their new release? Maybe it was to try and create a new hype for the old games to try and drive more people to buy them before they're gone. Regardless of their reasoning, it made many fans of the series and game preservation enthusiasts upset. They then went on to say that they will be bringing back the original versions of these games as a bundle for gamers to purchase. They also gave away many of these bundles for free to people who had already bought the definitive edition on PC. A year later, I can say that the definitive edition has certainly come a long way since the release, but it simply can't hold a candle to the original games. All of this is to say that we shouldn't blindly buy into the hype surrounding GTA 6, as much as it pains me to say. We have seen time and time again, studios with amazing track records releasing broken and buggy games simply to meet deadlines and to make their shareholders more money, regardless of the damage it may cause the company's image. I really want GTA 6 to be a great game, and I hope that it comes out in a fully playable state, without bugs and performance issues. But I have my reservations regarding Rockstar's recent track record, which is why I won't be pre-ordering the next GTA, and I'll wait until I see some reviews from the community. What do you think? Is there a reason to be concerned about GTA 6's development? Is Rockstar going woke? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, I'll see you next time.